Hello, everyone. Here we are again with another Recalibrated Woman conversation. I am so excited to introduce to you a personal trainer, a certified personal trainer, Nikki Lane. She is going to be talking to us about being fit for purpose, meaning that we have to do all we can to keep our body healthy and strong so that we can fulfill the purpose that God has in our life. So, let me introduce to you Miss Nikki Lane.
Hi,
Hi,
so great to
Nikki.
be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so glad to have you with us. I'm so excited. I cannot wait so that we can be fit for purpose. Could you start off just telling us a little bit about yourself so everyone can get to know you?
Sure. Yeah, I have been in the fitness industry now for more than 20 years. I started off as a group fitness instructor, and then I added on personal training certification, probably better than maybe 14 years ago.
Okay.
I thought while I was doing group fitness, I would have people come up to me and ask me other questions. They needed to do something else in addition to the class they were taking. An hour wasn't enough, or the group format didn't work for them because they had specific needs and maybe specific ailments. So I decided to go ahead and become a personal trainer so that I could work more in a one on one format with people and really listen to what their needs were and help them to form a plan so that they could overcome different, falls they'd had, different breaks that they were recovering from, even just bad habits that they developed in their lives, and really kind of coach them through those moments so that they could reach their fitness goals.
Awesome.
So I've been doing that mostly until I moved to Lexington area a couple years ago. I was with a YMCA, and then I also worked with a boutique gym in Birmingham and also in Knoxville in Tennessee.
Awesome.
So I've kind of made a tour of the
Yes.
Southeast, and I hope to stay in South Carolina from
Okay.
here on out.
Okay, awesome. Well, we hope you stay in South Carolina from here on out. And you said you've been doing that for 20 years. I guess that's why all the fitness is working in your life because you don't look old enough to say that you've been doing this for 20 years. You look good, Nikki. You look great.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we are so
Thank you.
excited to have you this year at our Recalibrated Woman, Empowering the Holistic Woman this year, where it's all about mental health, wellness, fitness, nutrition, financial literacy. So we are so excited. So on today, just a casual conversation. When you hear the term holistic or holistic woman, what does that mean to you?
Well, for me, it really just means that you're thinking about everything that goes into the joy that you find in life and in living. And it goes into like how you see yourself and promote your own well-being. You have to be your own advocate,
Mhm.
and you also have to know what steps can be taken in all those different areas of your life to make sure that you can find joy and purpose and success.
Yes, I like that. You're right. So true because it's dealing with the whole person and not just one area. Because I think sometimes we think that we're just one dimensional, especially if we're a mom. We
Mhm.
focus so much on just being a mom and we make sure everybody else is well, but then we forget about the other areas in our life
Yeah.
that need to be poured into and that needs to be whole as well. So I really love how you put that. That was great. So in your own life, how do you strive to be a holistic woman, mind, body, and spirit?
Well, a lot of it comes down to time and time management, especially like you said, as a mom, having a job, other people in my family and friends. We participate in church, and really most of it for me is to help make sure that my children have a foundation to pull from, and so we participate in a lot of the youth activities. And then as far as the timing that I use during the week, I mean, that's a Sunday activity that sometimes spills into a Wednesday night. But a lot of it is involved, am I getting to sleep at night? Am I getting the rest I need to be able to be successful in my job the next day? But am I also allowing enough time for fitness for me to go out on a walk or do a workout? And then am I also scheduling time with friends? So I take the time often to pair up a long walk with a good friend. So
Okay,
I
that's
have
good.
two different people that are my go-tos for that. Um, at work, whenever I'm taking care of my professional duties, there's another place where I'm thinking about, am I being fit? Because I'll go, I like to say it, if I'm talking, then I'm walking.
Mhm.
So if I don't need to be taking notes, if I don't need to be looking directly at a computer screen, then I'm going to go outside, I'm going to walk, and I'm going to hold my phone, and I'm going to have that important conversation, but just make sure that I'm also moving and, not just sitting there feeling like I didn't get anything done that day.
Right.
And also just honoring relationships. I'm checking in with other people. I'm
Mhm.
making sure that they're reaching goals that they've set for themselves. And so, just honestly taking the time to think about, is my nutrition good? I know tonight's the night I have to cook, so I'm not going to schedule a workout tonight, right? I'm going to schedule that I'm going to make enough food that gets us through maybe the next
Right.
2 or 3 nights, so that then I can take care of the other things. So
Mhm.
it's that time management that can
Yes.
really be a challenge.
Mm.
And as I've grown older, I found that I get better at it with practice.
Mm.
I wasn't good at it before, and now I feel like I've got a little bit more of a system down.
Mhm. I love that, Nikki. And like you say, you get better with it at practice. I think, and even for me speaking personally, the problem is that I'll do it, but I'm not seeing the results, or I feel like I'm still overwhelmed. But I have to
Mhm,
realize that I have to do it constantly over and over again until it becomes a habit. And then I can see,
mhm,
the residual from it having that balance. Something as simple as trying to get all the children's clothes out for the week. So that way, when we're getting up in the morning to go to school, and that's already done. That's one less thing that I have to think of. And then I have that extra time. Oh, I can throw a load of clothes in the laundry. I can sweep the floor, or I can do a couple of reps of something, some type of exercise. And then also with planning the nutrition, like you said, because it's easy. We'll pack everybody else's lunch and then we're heading out the door and forget about ours.
yeah,
And we're going and grabbing whatever we can to satisfy us in that moment. So absolutely, you're going to really be able to
mhm.
help us with some of that when you come to us. But finding
I
that
hope
balance,
so.
yes, yes, because you seem like you got it. Those tips and tools are really going to help us. And so, and then I love how you said making sure that your children also have that foundation. And sometimes that Sunday spills over to that Wednesday, and connecting with people, because so oftentimes we connect on our job, but
Mhm,
that's because we have to be there. We need the money that it provides. And then yes, we connect with our children, but having those
mhm,
friends in that outlet as well. So I like how you said getting with the friend and taking a walk, but you're doing two things, at one time. So that's so perfect. So
mhm.
what's one lesson life has taught you about growth, healing, or self-love?
Um, Probably that sometimes it takes work,
Mhm.
but it's worth it to put in the work, and also to forgive yourself, but to forgive others.
Mhm.
Um, I think too often we look at situations that we've been in that were challenging for us, and we think that it was so hard, no one can understand what we were going through. But when we accept that others are going through similar issues and similar challenges, and that maybe they're not their best version of themselves every single day, that can really help us as we move through a day, and as we move through, um, just growing beyond the burdens that have held us back sometimes.
Mhm.
And just allowing others also to teach us things. What is it that someone else has been through that I can learn from?
Right.
And even just listening, just opening your heart and listening to someone's story, and someone telling you what their positive outcome was or what their silver lining was, and giving yourself a moment, even whenever you've had a bad situation arise or whenever you've had a bad reaction to something, to find a silver lining and use that as a way to move past any anger or resentment or
Mhm.
pain that you're feeling. And remind yourself, um, this is who I am. This is the version of me that I want to be. I
Mhm.
want to be the person who, I got angry or I was upset or something really held me down for a long time, and it was hard for me to crawl out of that. But the person who is standing here in this moment, reflecting on it,
Yes.
that's who I want to be, and that's who I'm going to practice being
Mhm.
on a more frequent basis.
Yes, yes, yes. And that all speaks to giving yourself a little grace. giving ourselves grace and that
Yes,
permission to make mistakes, but know that we can recover
definitely.
from it. And I love that. I love that. Like who I am. When I'm angry, is not who I want to be. But now that I'm reflecting back on it, I know how I can do better the next time. And I mean, and we live in a flesh and blood body, so we get upset. We have
Yeah,
emotions, and sometimes we say things that we don't always mean. But learning to step back, extend grace to the one ourselves, but also doing that part of asking for forgiveness and then,
mhm,
healing from that. And so I love how that life lesson has taught you and made you into a better holistic woman. And we be honest, we're all striving. Okay. We are not perfect
yes.
in no way.
No,
It is a
no, no,
continual path of growth. Yes, every day
without
we're learning
question.
something. And I think sometimes when people, yes, and I think sometimes when people look at different women and we see a woman who may have it all together in our mind, we feel that they have it all together. But the truth is, they're still growing too. They're still growing and they're still developing in areas. And so if we extend that to ourselves to know that I'm a work in progress, and that's okay to be a work in progress because that means that the work is not done or completed. And that's a
Exactly,
great thing.
exactly.
So, if being a holistic woman had a theme song, what would yours be, Nikki?
Wow. I always have loved this one. It's funny because it used to have a different meaning for me, but the Gloria Gaynor song, right? I Will Survive. Um, it's funny how
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes comes back into your head, right? Like back when I was younger and I would go out with friends sometimes. I mean, that was usually the last song that was played if you were dancing. That was like the end of the night, right? But it was a good
Yes.
message for you to leave that evening with thinking,
Mm-hmm.
okay, yeah, I got through this night and this was a good day and I'm going to move on tomorrow. I have important things to do. But now I think as
Right.
like I said, as I've gotten older and as I've, gone through different experiences, um, it's very rare that I let something bring me down. I like to think, you know what, I've got this. You have those mantras in your head that you kind of are always saying to
Yes.
yourself. Sometimes it's that, like, God's
Yes.
got this, right? Sometimes it's,
Mm-hmm.
I can do it. And sometimes it's, I will survive. It could be worse and I
Yes.
will get through it and I will survive.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that. I will survive. We may have to play that at the conference. Because, and like you said, some songs, they do take on new meaning when you get a new outlook on life and you grow and mature to a different level. So I will survive. Yes, that's what we
Yeah,
have to tell ourselves, most definitely. I love that. So we're going to have to put that on the playlist. It's going to have to be played during the conference. Yes,
it's a
ma'am.
great,
Yes,
great,
ma'am.
yes,
So,
great idea.
yes. Yes, we can do that. We can do that. Before we close, I just want to ask you one last question. What's one thing that you want every woman listening to take away from this conversation today?
I guess really probably just that, thinking about addressing all the needs that you have because we all have to honor the fact that we do have things that we need to take care of that are important to us.
Mhm.
Um, but honoring those needs and thinking through what it is that can bring you that joy, um, make you feel
Yes.
connected to your friends, family, to whoever you see as your spiritual leader, whatever connections you can make and plans you can devise that help you build the habits to be successful, to be able to say that you're living on the terms that you set for yourself and that you're proud of who you are. I think that's something that's a gift that we give ourselves, but it's also a gift that we give the people we love because they look to us
Yes.
for guidance, just like we're looking to them for guidance. So we have to know that we're
Mhm.
all in it together, and that we're
Yes.
constantly, as you said even earlier, we're constantly forming new habits and building better ways to move forward.
Mhm. Yes, yes. Thank you, Nikki. That was so powerful. So we're all in this together. And once we realize that, I think it'll help us to grow together as well and find what brings you joy. And yes, and brings you that peace and look to those places. So I really appreciate you. I cannot wait for everyone to meet you at the Recalibrated Woman this year because we will survive.
Yes.
We will get through this. We will get through this because God's got us. So thank you so much, Nikki. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. So you all get there. She is going to be great. Be ready, be prepared to really talk about health and fitness and finding your purpose, being fit for purpose. Thank you again, Nikki.
Thank you. It's great to meet